US House Committee reaches bipartisan deal on social media rules for kids. Committee leaders did not release details but said the legislation would hold big tech accountable. Now this is really big news for the US because, as you may know, the United States has currently been going through their proposed legislation to discuss the options that are available for social media limitations in the United States. And in today's video we're going to go through everything. But firstly, welcome to Waffle House. This is the channel where we talk about everything that happens in relation to US digital privacy laws, and you may notice down below that I've linked this to both my main channel and of course this channel, because I think this topic is relevant for both. Now when researching this video, I found something quite funny. So the White House urged the UK not to ban social media for under 16s, and just 13 days later, the US House Committee reaches their conclusion on a social media ban for children in the US. Now, I want to be very clear, there are two very stark differences between these two pieces of regulation, but both the UK and the US legislation both started out the same way. And eventually this will lead to age verification in the US to access social media platforms. And if that's something that you're worried about, you should probably check out Private Internet Access VPN at the link down below. With that link, you get 2 months for free and 87% off. And that VPN will work across all of your devices. Also, more to the point, they don't keep any logs and they do not share any of your information with third parties or governments. So if you're a legal adult and you don't want to be handing over your passport to use the internet, check out Private Internet Access at the link down below. Now let's get back to the video. Leaders of the US House Energy and Commerce Committee have reached a bipartisan agreement on legislation requiring social media platforms to provide safeguards and tools for children and parents, a key step in a years-long debate over how to protect children online. Chairman Brett Guthrie and top committee Democrat Frank Pallone declined to release more specific details about the agreement announced on Monday, but it said it will hold big tech accountable, which is very funny because that's the same thing that the UK government said. We worked across the aisle for many months and have now found common ground on policies to significantly improve the digital environment for kids, Guthrie and Pallone said in a joint statement. Tech companies are under increasing scrutiny in the United States for their effect on young people, with parents and state officials pushing to ban phones from schools to limit access. Now you may be wondering what this actually means. Well, what this means is that the US government are setting out a legal framework where they can hold social media companies legally responsible for content that appears on their platforms. For example, if a parent reports to the authorities that their child has seen something inappropriate on a platform like Facebook, the US government can legally hold Meta responsible for their content being on the platform. Now, naturally, what this means is that these platforms and services, such as Meta, TikTok, YouTube, for example, they're basically going to overshoot their legislation. Now, what this effectively means is that every single time that you use a social media platform, all of your feeds, the posts that you see, the messages you received are more likely to be screened and toned down to make sure that they're all PG. Now this presents the problem with over censorship on communication, and of course this directly goes against America's own stance on freedom of speech. Now what this does mean is that the United States most likely will offer a compromise, the same thing that the UK did, whereas you would not have any of these restrictions if, for example, you verify your age, which then leads us to what this bill most likely would develop into. Now I need to be clear that this is a slippery slope. You start off by saying that you're going to protect children and hold social media companies accountable. Senators get votes and it's an amazing way to basically bolster support in the government. But what tends to happen later down the line, as we've seen in the UK, as we've seen in Australia, and as we've seen in many more countries around the world, is that they get this legislation passed and then they realize that it infringes on people's freedoms. Everything you see on social media will be watered down and filtered, and that's where speech gets controlled. Now the way to counteract that is by the people that are of age verifying their age or using a VPN. Now this still has some steps to go. This has to go all the way up to the president to get passed, but the reality is that it shouldn't have even got this far. It shouldn't have even been proposed to begin with, and the fact it has is very concerning for your digital privacy in the US. I'm saying this as a British person person. We've seen this happen. This is what's going to happen in the US. And the reality is that although America has a lot more protesting power in terms of the government fear the people a little bit more than in the UK, well, it's because you're all armed to the teeth. I don't think any American citizen could probably interfere with the bureaucracy that's taking place here. I don't know. I'll probably be wrong on that. We'll have to find out. Anyway, that's what's happening. This legislation, there's going to be more announcements for this coming over the coming days, weeks, months. I will follow this very closely because this is the UK blueprint in America. Whilst they're criticizing what the UK is doing, I don't know. I'll keep you all up to date, so make sure you subscribe to this channel, which is the Waffle House, and of course, if you're into UK politics, subscribe to the Cyber Waffle channel also. Thank you so much for watching today's video. If you did enjoy, please make sure to like and subscribe, and I shall see you all in the next one.